Hi, everybody. Welcome to our YouTube live session today on getting started with Google Classroom. My name is Aaron Peterson, and this is Sarah Perry.
Hi, everyone.
We are both educational technology facilitators with DDSB, and we're going to walk you through a really quick session on how to get rolling in G Suite with your students. Sarah's going to be manning the live chat. If you want to join that, you can. You might need to create a YouTube channel, but it's just a couple of clicks there on your account, My Channel, and create a channel to get in there. If not, feel free to just listen and watch the session. This will be recorded and posted right afterwards if anybody wants to watch it at their own, on their own time frame. So we're going to get started by sharing my screen. All right, so getting started with Google Classroom. We're going to first start with talking about what Google Classroom is and what it isn't. So Google Classroom is an LMS. An LMS is a learning management system, which means it's just an online presence for your class. It's a place for your students to get assignments, announcements, tasks from you, materials, and to turn them in, get feedback, get marked, share back with you as the teacher. We have other LMSs in the board right now in DDSB. We use D2L or Brightspace. We also use Moodle, and this year we've added Google Classroom. Some of the pros of Google Classroom are that it's easy to use, it's a really good platform for feedback, and it gives us a really strong digital workflow, so we can reduce some of that printing, some of that paper back and forth. But that feedback and workflow are really well integrated into Google Classroom. Some things that it's not are a full-featured LMS. So it doesn't have some of the rich features that D2L or Moodle might have, where you can have release conditions on items where they automatically appear for students, some more self-directed learning. We don't have full discussion forums. We can't make groups or groupings really easily like we can in Moodle and D2L. It's also not the only LMS for Chromebooks. So while we're introducing Chromebooks in DDSB and Classroom at the same time, it doesn't mean you have to use Classroom with the Chromebooks. The other ones work great. They're web-based, so they work really well on the platform of the Chromebooks. But Google Classroom provides us for a really easy onboarding point if you haven't used LMS before. So if you've tried D2L or Moodle, or if you've heard about them, or if the learning curve has just been too steep, Google Classroom is a really, really great place to start. You can also use some of these in conjunction with each other as well. There's pros and cons to all of them, so you can use the best parts of Classroom, the best parts of D2L or Moodle, and kind of make them fit with your workflow and what's right for your students and your class. So we're going to get right into working through building a class and show you how to get started. So the best place, or the best way to get there for students, is to start at Student Mobile Campus. So this mobile campus page we can find with a link on any of the school websites right at the top. You can also type in student.ddsb.ca and get here. Once you get here, there's a link to Google Classroom here on the right-hand side. That will take you to your Classroom homepage. So my Classroom homepage is very busy because of workshops and other things, so don't worry about that. Yours won't look this cluttered or busy. Just to give you a little tour of the Classroom homepage, every one of these cards or rectangles here is a different class or different classroom that I'm a member of or that I've been invited to. Over here on the left, you have the menu. So this is your menu for jumping between classes as a teacher and as a student. You also have some settings and ways to jump back to old classes that are archived currently. On the right, you've got a Google App Launcher for jumping to some of your Google apps really quickly. You also have a G Suite training icon if you are logged into Chrome with your DDSB account. You'll have this G Suite training icon, which gives some interactive videos, tutorials for using Classroom. Really great resource if you just need to remember how to do that one little thing. They're short 1 minute, minute and a half videos or interactive links where they actually move your cursor on your screen to highlight where you should be clicking. The other thing you have on here is this plus button, and this is where we go to create or join a class. So we're going to start by creating a class. Students don't have the ability to create a class. It's only available for staff. Students would have only the join class option. So I'm going to go ahead and create a class to get started here. We'll call this Getting Started Google Classroom. If I wanted to, I could make a section here. If I had multiple sections, I might name that the name of the teacher, the homeroom, or the group, and I can put subject if I want to, but these are optional, so we could leave these blank if we wanted to. Once I've got this filled in the way I want it, I click Create, and it'll only take less than a minute here to get that going. One other thing you want to make sure of is that you are logged in with your DDSB account here when you're in Classroom. So in the upper right here, if I go to my little icon up here, my avatar, you might just have a letter for yours. You want to make sure that it has your DDSB account listed here in that profile. Classroom is available to personal Google accounts, and if you're in there, you will have a tough time having students join your class because it's outside the domain. They can only join classes within DDSB with their login here in Durham. It's also important just for the privacy protections and intellectual property protections we have for using this within our domain. So we always want to use things for class and with student work inside of our domain, inside of our DDSB domain. Once you land in here, this is your home page. So it's going to do some design work for you automatically. So to start out, it saw the word classroom in my name, and so it gave me a picture of a classroom. So it's going to do a best guess and give you a theme. This class doesn't really look like any of our classes, so I'm going to go ahead and change that. But you can see it picked this brown color from the photo. So over here on the lower right, I've got a theme and an upload photo, and I'm going to go ahead and select a theme and use one of theirs. So I can pick a picture that's already set up to be a banner that they've selected, or I can choose patterns up here at the top and pick something that's a little bit more plain or a little more abstract. So I'll pick one of these and select that class theme, and you'll see it'll change over. And you can see that my banner and my buttons and my background also change tones based on the color. So if you upload your own photo, it's going to pick something. It's going to pick something out of that, or a color out of that photo, and apply it and do the design work for you. Once you're on this homepage, you have three main places. You have the stream, which is here. This is where all of your assignments show up and your announcements, your interactions with your students show up here on this main feed. Then you have a Students tab and About tab. We're going to jump to this last page, the About tab, first to talk about what's there. On this About tab, it shows you who the teachers are here on the left. So this one just has me. It'll show you your title of your classroom in here. And it'll also have a place for you to add class materials. When I click Add Class Materials, it gives me my posting options here at the bottom.
Yeah, she's here. So I'm going to. You might want to try and put your screen up. I feel like you might be at the bottom half of the screen and missing maybe the top half. I'm going to send you the link again just to make sure you're on the proper link. Sorry, you can keep going.
So when you're on this page, you've got a choice of adding a title of what you want to post, along with some attachment options. So at the bottom, the first one is a paperclip. This is for attaching a file. So I can upload something from my computer or pick something out of my Google Drives. After that, I also have a link to my drive. So if I want to pick something from my Google Drive, it's all here. And I can see my files previewed right there. I can also pick a YouTube clip. If I search for a topic here, this is all going to be safe search and filter my topics right here. And I can post these in for my students as well, and it just kind of puts the video, embeds it right there. Finally, I can put a link in here if I want to add a hyperlink. So if I pull this Student Mobile Campus link and go back to my page, I can post this link, and it'll show up like this. You might want to group these as links or reading or math or writing, things like that, and then group those together. Once I post, it's going to land on that page, and I've got those resources. This About page is not where we're going to put assignments or things that are temporary. This is where we're putting things that we want students to access the whole year. So these are things like a syllabus, like classroom agreements, maybe a rubric that students refer to over and over again, or certain guidelines or welcome letters, maybe a link to your class website, those kinds of things. You want really like the top 5, 10, 15 things, maybe at the most, that your students access all the time so this page doesn't get too cluttered. Again, we can add class materials, add another one if we wanted to. Add another link. You'll see how it ends up in a different card. So I have these two posts, these two white cards here, groupings there. The other thing we can do is we can invite other teachers. So if I were to invite a co-teacher here, I can search for Sarah's name in my list, select her from the directory, and click invite. Adding a teacher to your class gives them full permissions on that class, just like you have. So you both have the right to post assignments, add comments, suggestions, feedback, grades, all those things, delete posts, all full editing access on your class. So you need to really decide if that's what you want to do. Once I've invited that teacher, they'll get an email and they can respond to it, or they can go to the classroom homepage and they'll have an invite card sitting there waiting for them. I can remove them from the class at any time because I'm the owner of the class. But I can also, once they join the class, I'll have the option to transfer ownership over to them. So scenarios where that might happen are if you are going on a leave and you need to hand it off to someone else who's taking over for your class. Maybe you are an LTO yourself and you're handing it off to the classroom teacher when they return. You can transfer ownership cleanly and give that all back to them and get it out of your hands and out of your account. You also have this class drive folder. What that will do is jump you into Google Drive and take you to the folder that has all the course materials there. This folder, you don't want to delete or add files to it. It's really just there for the back end. It's where all the sharing permissions are set up. If you needed to get to course materials, you could get there to organize or view your student files in a quicker way or in a certain way you need to. But for just getting started, the best practice is really to keep your hands out of that folder, just so you don't accidentally change some sharing permissions or mess things up for your students. So best just to stay out of there, but that's how you can get there really quickly. All right, so we're going to jump to that middle tab now, the Students tab, and show you how we can get kids in here. So once you get in here, to invite kids, we can invite them individually. So if I invited a student here, all I need to do is type their name to start searching the directory, and I can invite that student to my class. That student would have that invite sitting there on their homepage of the classroom to get in there. But you might not want to do that times 25 or times 100 or 150 students if you're on Rotary for all your classes. This might be something you do if you're in early primary and you want to simplify the process for just a single homeroom. You could do that, but otherwise it's going to get a little bit time consuming. The other thing we can do is give students this class code up here. So this is a 6-digit class code up here. It's very small, so I can click that drop down and I can actually display the code nice and large, and I could actually go full screen by clicking on the square in the lower right. This is what I would project at the front of the room when I'm having students join. For them to join then, they would be on their class homepage and they would click join and they would type that code in here and click join and they'd be added to the class. So going back to this demo class, the only other thing you need to know here is that we've got this button, students can post and comment. So by default, students have full rights to post things to your stream and comment on each other's posts and your posts, which is great for a nice open communication, but it can fill up your feed really quickly. So if you have 25 students and they're all posting once a day, your assignments will get pushed way down the feed and be hard for students to find. So we recommend we go to this middle ground here. Students can comment, which means the teachers can post something, students can ask questions or comments underneath, but they won't be able to make their own posts. If that's too much for your students and they're having a tough time with the commenting, you can turn it off so that only teachers can post or comment, and now students can only make comments to you within an assignment in a private comment, which we'll show you in a minute with assignments. So we like that middle ground. They can comment on things, but they can't make new posts, just to keep that feed clean, but it's really up to you and how your students are, what the needs are for them. So jumping back to the main page, once I have my students added in, we can start adding things to this main stream. So this is a general class, getting started with Google Classroom. I think I saw a question about how to choose your topics there, or what your classroom should be. I'll show you really quickly how quick it is to change classes. So if I jump from this class to another class, it's one click and it's almost instantaneous that I'm in the other classroom. If you put all of your homeroom materials in one class, all your math, all your language in one class, it's going to get really, really busy. So you might want to separate a math class, a language class, or even a reading and writing class, a history class, geography class, into separate classrooms. Students can manage that because it's really, really quick to jump between here, between their classes that are open, and it doesn't take any time at all. And that will keep your stream a lot cleaner when you're doing your work. So on this main page, you have your stream in the middle, and this is just a timeline. So your newest things go to the top, and then they push down to the bottom of the stream as new things are added. You have a little window here which will show you all your due dates. Obviously, we don't have any right now, but this is where your due dates will end up. And then you have topics. Topics are how you organize your class. They could be strands from the curriculum. They might be units that you do. They might be certain kinds of assignments. There's really no right or wrong way to assign topics. It's really up to how you organize your class and what's best for your students and your material. So let's start posting some things. So the main button here, main control, is this plus button in the lower right corner. So in there, I have 4 types of options here for posting. The first one, we're just going to work right through all these 4 and tell you some best practices on how to use these. So the first one is create announcement. This announcement is going to let us just post something that we don't expect students necessarily to get back to us on. So it's not an assignment that we want to collect work on. It's just something we want them to either look at, read, have the resource for. So I might say visit this link, and then again I have those choices for what I put in here. I could put a link in. I could also add a document. So if I wanted to add this document for this YouTube live session, I could do that. There's the drawing, and when I'm done, I can post it. I've got a couple of other options though before I post it. So one is I could create a topic for it. So this is where we're going to end over here on this left-hand side for topics. So I'm going to go ahead and make my own topic here. And now that's tagged as a topic. You can only have one topic on an assignment or post, so you need to decide how you're going to kind of structure that before you get going. The other thing I can do is I can post this to multiple classes at once. So right now it's the posting the class that I'm in, but I could change the classes. I could post to 2 or 3 or all my classes at once. If I'm posting in just one, I can also decide which students that it goes to. So if I have multiple students, I can pick which ones it goes to. Finally, I can post it or I can schedule it. We'll talk about that in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and post this, show it on the feed. So there's my announcement. It shows up there. I've got my tag there. It's called, it's got this topic on there. And I say visit this link, but I also have a drawing there. So I can have Google files. I could have Word or Office files. I could have links, PDFs, videos, any kind of thing I can attach there, and I can stack many of them on at once. You also see this add class comment button comes up. So students could comment if they had a question or a comment about a post, and you can reply as the teacher and have a thread there if anyone needs help on that. I'm going to jump up to the second one now, create assignment. Looking at creating an assignment, the only difference here is that we expect students to do something and turn something back in. Okay? Give me something here and give me something to give them feedback on. So I'm going to post an assignment here. I'll give it a title, and then I can give it some instructions if I needed to. And then I can attach what I want to down here. So I'm going to grab something from Drive. I'm just going to attach a template and add that in. Now I've got some choices for my due date. So if I want to assign a due date, I can. I can leave it blank if I don't have a due date for this, or I can pick a date from the calendar. I can either do just a date, or I can actually add a specific time as well. By default, it just goes till midnight, but I could make it due at class time if I needed to. Also, I can assign that topic. So there's the topic that I had before. I can make a new topic or leave it as no topic. Finally, I've got that differentiation with my students or my classes. Good practice here would be to leave all of them checked and then uncheck the students you don't want to give this one to. Then you could return, post another one, uncheck all of them, and check off just the students you want that differentiated activity, go to the something that with accommodations or modifications, and the students will only see what ends up on their feed. So it's really, it kind of makes it gives everybody the same look on their timeline, but they don't know what's different about their assignment. It makes it really nice for making accommodations or changes for students that need them. Again, this is one file on here, but I could add more if I wanted to. So I could add a link, I could add a rubric or a PDF here, and then I've got some choices on what the students do here. So these choices are really important when we're putting on an assignment. First one is students can view a file, but we can also say they can edit, or we can make a copy for everyone. If they view it, obviously that's all they're doing is looking at it. They can't do anything with that file. If we say they can edit it, everyone edits on the same file. It's a collaborative document then. Sometimes that's what you want, like a slide where we're sharing ideas, but sometimes that's definitely not what you want with one single document, everyone writing on it. Finally, you can make a copy for every student. You can only do this at the time of assigning, so if you edit later, you won't be able to have that option. It only happens when you put it out the first time. But that makes a copy for everybody with their name in the title of it, and everyone has their own document to work on that. Finally, for assigning, like I said, we have a chance to save the draft or schedule it. So by default, if I just say assign, it's going to go out right now, but you might want something that doesn't go out the night before, it goes out the morning of class, or maybe even after an introductory lesson halfway through class, you can schedule it and it will just magically appear when it hits that time. So after I click assign, this is going to go on the timeline or on the stream. I'll show you what that looks like. So the only difference here is I have a done and not done pile. So I have no students in this class, so 0 are not done and 0 are done. But these change as students turn work in. I'm going to jump over to another class where I have students in it so you can see that. So here's that assignment here with 5 students in the class. So 4 have not finished it, 1 has finished it. If I was going to go into that assignment, I can see how I would give that feedback on this task. So if I click on that assignment, I'm going to go in and I can see the students that are done at the top and the students that are not done here below. It also tells you right here on the documents that they've attached documents that are all not done, but this one has been resubmitted. So I return it and resubmit it. Students can unsubmit, resubmit as many times as they want and get that feedback. A couple of ways to get feedback here. I can click on Sarah's name, see all the things she has there, and I can add feedback down here in private comments. Being private comments, she's the only one that will see them. Sarah and I, the student and I will see them. I can also click on the document itself if it's a Google Drive file, something like docs, drawings, sheets, slides, and I can get into the file itself and add some comments. So one thing I could do here, I've added a comment. I selected this picture and I added a comment here. Sarah could then reply and we could get a conversation going about the work that's happening here. But that's inside of a Google Drive document. Like I said, there's the private comments there, and then I have a grade. By default, when you assign something, it's out of 100 points. You can make it ungraded, or you can change the grading scale. I've changed this to 4. So if I give Sarah 3 out of 4 and hit enter, it's going to save that grade. And now Sarah cannot see this grade until I return it. So I've got this return button at the top. When I select the ones I want to return and click return, that releases the score and the comments back to the student. So they'll be notified and then they can check any grade that I've left on there. The other thing we've got here is if I go to Sarah's work again and see the history of her task, we can see that this grade has been changed many times. We can also see that she resubmitted it. So she took it back, took the feedback and changed it, and we regraded it and returned it to her. So all that history of that document, of that assignment is there for the teacher and student to conference about and see. Going up my posts, my next one is create a question. This is a quick multiple choice or short answer question that I can put out there. So I could put something like, I add an open-ended question and just leave it a short answer. I can choose students to reply. If I do that, obviously they'll see each other's answers. So if you're doing an exit ticket, you might want to turn that off. Otherwise, you can leave that open. You can also have students edit their answer if you need to do that. Again, due dates, topics, choosing which students get this task, and cross-posting between classes are all available. And just as before, we can add links or files if we needed to support that in any way, or embed those YouTube videos. If YouTube is filtered for your students, it'll be filtered here. If it's turned off for students, obviously they still won't see that, but they can see it on an unfiltered network connection. Again, Drive and links are there at the bottom, and we can schedule or post it right now. That shows up in the feed right there for them to work with. The final button here is to reuse a post. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna go back to question really quickly because I didn't show you this button. I had a short answer, but I can also do a multiple choice. So if I do a multiple choice question, I can actually add choices here and give those options and get a quick poll going for students and give them a chance to see the others' answers or not. Okay, so that's a really nice feature. I can't do a quiz here, so I can't do 10 questions here, but I can do a single multiple choice question to take a quick poll right in Classroom. The last posting option we have is to reuse a post. So at the top, I've got this little recycle button. And if I click on that, I'll see all the classes I've had, both archived classes and active classes. So if I have an archived class, they'll show as archived. So that could be something from a year before, previous year, or I can do active classes as well. So I'll grab an archived class and show you I can pull a post in from a previous year. So I grab that and click reuse. Once I get there, this assignment shows up. It doesn't post it, but it brings it in all filled out for me. So it's got the topic from before. If I want to change that, I could, or I could take it off of there. I can change the due date. I can change the title or the instructions. I could add different files if I needed to, but everything will start there. If I had files or links, they would be there as well as attachments. So it doesn't post it to your stream. You can do modifications and change your work from one year to the next or from one class to the next. But it gets you started, gives you the shell to save you some time. Once I'm ready, I just click assign, and that hits my stream there too. So really quickly, just to go over the stream one last time before we wrap up here. Now you can see I have a due date, so students will see this as well. Gives them a little summary of what's coming up due for the course. We also have our topics here. If I click EdTech, it'll filter the view and just show that one post that had that topic. So this is a way to kind of declutter what's on the stream and show just what you're looking at. The arrow up here in the upper left gets you back, shows you everything, and then you can see the stream is already getting a little bit full. So that's Google Classroom in a nutshell. It's a quick way to get started. If you need more help, feel free to reach out to us, to the EdTechs here at DDSB. You can also visit our ILP On Demand courses if you want a deeper dive in here. So if you go to D2L on the Student Mobile Campus and select from Teacher Resources, the ILP Courses on Demand, you will see self-enrollment and self-paced courses on things like Google Suite, D2L, Classroom, Moodle, Assessment, Read and Write, Digital Citizenship, Professional Practices, and get those ILP credits if you need those working towards your ILP laptops. So that's all available to you with full-length courses. This is just meant to be a quick start to get you going. Hope that helps. Good luck with Google Classroom.